Before you listen, slow your mind. Not because this message is heavy, but because it is precise. Somewhere in your daily routine, there is one habit you repeat so casually that you don't even notice it anymore. A habit so normal that no one warns you about it. Yet this single behavior is quietly training your mind to scatter, weaken, and abandon focus before it ever has a chance to settle. Zen monks saw this danger centuries ago. They didn't fight distraction. They didn't download techniques. They didn't chase productivity. They simply removed what was breaking attention every single day. If your mind feels restless even when nothing is wrong, if focus slips away the moment you try to hold it, this is not a personal failure. It is conditioning. And once you see what Zen monks deliberately avoid, you will realize something powerful. Focus was never lost. It was being given away. Stay with this message, because what you are about to hear does not add anything to your life. It takes something away. Fragmented attention is the real enemy. Zen monks do not see distraction as the main danger. Distraction is obvious. It comes and goes. Fragmentation, however, is silent and far more destructive. Fragmentation happens when attention is broken repeatedly throughout the day. Not once, not occasionally, but constantly. A message checked mid-thought. A thought abandoned halfway. A task paused before it settles. Each split may feel small, but together, they train the mind to never arrive fully anywhere. Zen monks understand something modern culture ignores. The mind learns its behavior from how attention is treated, not from intentions. When attention is repeatedly interrupted, the brain adapts. It stops committing. It stops settling. It learns to hover on the surface of everything. This is why fragmented attention feels restless, even in quiet moments. The mind has been trained to expect interruption, so it creates it internally. Zen monks protect continuity with discipline and reverence. They finish one breath before reaching for the next. They complete one movement before beginning another. They allow a single thought to rise, exist, and fall without interference. Continuity teaches the mind that it is safe to stay, that nothing is chasing it, that depth is allowed. A mind that stays whole can enter depth effortlessly. A mind trained to fragment cannot concentrate, no matter how hard it tries. This is why Zen monks do not try to force focus. They simply remove the habit of breaking attention, because focus does not appear through effort. It appears when attention is no longer torn apart. Fragmentation is the real enemy, and continuity is the quiet cure. Switching trains the mind to stay shallow. Zen monks discovered very early that the mind does not lose focus because it is weak, but because it is trained to leave. The modern habit of constant switching teaches the mind that nothing deserves full presence. Each time attention jumps from one task to another, from one thought to the next, the mind learns that depth is optional and departure is normal. Switching feels productive on the surface because movement creates the illusion of progress. However, Zen monks observed that frequent switching prevents the mind from ever settling deeply enough to understand, absorb, or complete anything with clarity. The mind remains active but never anchored, busy but never fulfilled. Over time, switching rewires attention to expect novelty instead of continuity. The brain begins to crave the relief of change before discomfort has a chance to mature into understanding. This is why boredom becomes unbearable for a switching mind, while a trained mind experiences boredom as a doorway into deeper awareness. Zen monks intentionally stay with one action long past the point where the restless mind wants to escape. They remain with the breath, with the step, with the task, not because it is exciting, but because staying teaches the nervous system stability. Stability is what allows depth to emerge. A mind that switches often becomes efficient at starting, but poor at finishing. It knows how to engage briefly, but lacks the endurance required for true focus. Zen monks understood that depth cannot be rushed, and that clarity only appears when attention remains long enough for the surface layers to fall away. By removing unnecessary switching, monks train the mind to tolerate stillness, resistance, and silence. In this space, attention strengthens naturally. The mind learns that it does not need constant change to remain safe or alive. It learns how to stay. This is why Zen practice emphasizes continuity over stimulation. The goal is not to entertain the mind, but to retrain it. When switching is removed, the mind stops skimming the surface of life and begins to move downward into depth. That depth is where real focus is born. Silence is used to heal the attention span. Zen monks do not treat silence as relaxation or escape from noise. They treat it as medicine. Silence is used deliberately, not to feel calm for a moment, but to repair the damage done to attention over time. Where constant sound fragments the mind, silence slowly stitches it back together. When the mind is exposed to continuous noise, it becomes dependent on stimulation. It learns to reach outward for reassurance, movement, and novelty. Zen monks understood that this outward-reaching habit weakens the attention span because the mind forgets how to stay with itself. Silence reverses this training. In silence, the mind initially becomes restless. Thoughts grow louder. Discomfort surfaces. This is not failure, it is exposure. Zen monks remain in silence long enough for the mind to exhaust its need for stimulation. When nothing arrives from the outside, attention is forced to turn inward and stabilize. Over time, silence retrains the nervous system. The mind learns that stillness is not dangerous, and that it does not need constant input to function. This is how attention lengthens. The mind stops begging for interruption and becomes capable of staying present without effort. Zen monks use silence to strengthen the muscle of sustained awareness, sitting quietly with the breath, walking without sound, eating without distraction. Each silent practice extends the mind's ability to remain with one experience fully. Silence becomes a training ground where attention is rebuilt piece by piece. This is why silence feels uncomfortable to an untrained mind. It exposes how dependent attention has become on external noise. Zen monks do not escape this discomfort. They let silence do its work. As the need for stimulation fades, focus returns naturally. Silence does not empty the mind, it steadies it. And a steady mind does not scatter, it stays. Reactivity gives away inner authority. Zen monks are deeply aware that the greatest threat to focus is not distraction itself, but reactivity. Reactivity happens when the mind responds automatically, without choice. A sound appears and attention jumps. A message arrives and the body moves. A thought arises and action follows instantly. In these moments, authority over attention is surrendered. Zen monks understand that whoever controls the timing of response controls the mind. When reactions are immediate, attention belongs to the outside world. Life pulls the strings and the mind obeys. Over time, this trains attention to live in a constant state of readiness, always waiting for the next interruption. This state weakens focus because the mind never settles. It remains alert, tense, and externally oriented. Zen monks intentionally slow the gap between stimulus and response. This pause is not hesitation, it is sovereignty. Within that pause, attention is reclaimed. By delaying reaction, monks teach the mind that it does not need to move the moment something happens. A sound can exist without being chased. A thought can appear without being followed. A feeling can rise without becoming action. This retraining restores inner authority. Zen practice repeatedly reinforces this principle. Whether during meditation, work, or daily routines, monks respond deliberately rather than reflexively. This deliberate response builds a stable center from which attention operates. Focus becomes possible because attention is no longer being dragged in every direction. Reactivity creates fragmentation because it pulls attention outward again and again. Inner authority gathers attention back to one place. Zen monks protect this authority fiercely, knowing that focus is not strengthened by force, but by freedom from automatic reaction. When the mind no longer reacts instantly, it regains command over where attention rests. And where attention rests with choice, focus naturally follows. Distraction is avoidance in disguise. Zen monks do not see distraction as a harmless habit or a simple lack of discipline. They see it as a subtle form of avoidance. Whenever the mind reaches for distraction, it is often turning away from something it does not want to face. This might be discomfort, boredom, emotional tension, or the quiet intensity of being fully present. Distraction feels relieving because it offers immediate escape. Attention is pulled away from stillness, and the mind is given movement instead. Zen monks observed that this escape becomes addictive. The more often the mind avoids stillness, the less capable it becomes of remaining present when presence is required. In Zen practice, Monks sit directly with discomfort rather than fleeing from it. They allow restlessness to rise, peak, and dissolve without interference. Through this process, the mind learns that discomfort is temporary and does not need to be avoided. This lesson is essential for restoring focus. When distraction becomes habitual, the mind learns that it never has to endure anything fully. Tasks are abandoned at the first sign of resistance. Thoughts are interrupted before they mature. Attention is trained to leave rather than remain. Zen monks remove distraction to reverse this conditioning. By staying present through boredom and tension, monks build endurance in attention. They teach the mind that it is safe to stay, even when nothing is stimulating. Over time, the urge to escape weakens. Focus strengthens because attention no longer collapses under mild discomfort. Zen monks understand that presence is not always pleasant, but it is always clarifying. When distraction is removed, awareness deepens. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. And in that space, focus stops being a struggle and becomes a natural state of being. Repetition builds the mind you live inside. Zen monks do not rely on motivation, inspiration, or sudden insight to shape their minds. They understand that the mind is built slowly, through repetition. Whatever is repeated daily becomes familiar, and whatever becomes familiar eventually feels normal. This is how a mental environment is created, quietly and without resistance. Every repeated behavior teaches the mind what kind of attention it should maintain. Repeated switching trains, restlessness. Repeated checking trains, impatience. Repeated interruption trains, fragmentation. Zen monks observe these patterns and remove the repetitions that weaken attention, replacing them with ones that stabilize it. In Zen monasteries, repetition is intentional and precise. The same movements, the same routines, the same rhythms are followed day after day. This is not done to limit freedom, but to condition the mind towards steadiness. When actions repeat without chaos, attention settles naturally into the pattern. Over time, repetition becomes the architecture of the inner world. A fragmented pattern produces a fragmented inner experience. A grounded pattern produces inner stability. Zen monks know that the mind you experience each day is not random. It is constructed by what you repeat when you are not paying attention. This is why monks guard repetition so carefully. They understand that even small daily behaviors, when repeated consistently, shape the mind more powerfully than rare moments of intense effort. Focus is not trained in dramatic moments. It is formed in quiet, repeated actions. When repetition is aligned with stillness and continuity, the mind becomes a place where attention can rest. Focus no longer needs to be forced because the environment it lives in is supportive. Zen monks live inside the mind their repetitions have built, and they choose those repetitions with great care. Speed is often hidden panic. Zen monks are cautious of speed, not because movement itself is wrong, but because unnecessary speed often reveals an unsettled mind. When actions are rushed without need, the body is moving faster than awareness. This disconnect is a quiet form of panic, even if it feels productive or efficient on the surface. Speed creates the sensation of urgency. Urgency tells the mind that something is wrong, that something must be handled immediately, that stillness is unsafe. Zen monks understand that when the mind lives in urgency, attention cannot settle. It remains alert, scanning, and reactive, never fully present. Through slow and deliberate movement, monks retrain the nervous system. Each action is completed fully before the next begins. Walking, cleaning, eating, and even speaking are done with measured pace. This slowness teaches the mind that there is no threat chasing it, and no need to escape the present moment. When speed is habitual, attention becomes fragmented. Thoughts race ahead of actions, and actions rush ahead of awareness. Zen monks slow the body to calm the mind. As the body learns steadiness, the mind follows, and focus naturally deepens. Zen practice shows that clarity emerges when movement is intentional rather than compulsive. Slowing down does not reduce effectiveness. It removes mental noise. In a calm rhythm, attention has time to settle into each moment instead of skimming past it. By choosing calm speed over frantic motion, Zen monks protect focus. They understand that a mind at peace does not hurry unnecessarily. True efficiency is born from steadiness, and true focus lives where movement and awareness remain aligned. Input control is mental discipline. Zen monks understand that the mind is shaped by what it consumes, not only by what it thinks. Every sound, image, word, and idea that enters awareness leaves a trace. When inputs arrive endlessly, the mind becomes crowded. Focus weakens not from lack of effort, but from excess intake. Modern life trains the mind to accept constant input without pause. Information flows continuously, rarely giving attention time to digest anything fully. Zen monks recognized long ago that a mind overwhelmed with input loses its capacity for depth. It may appear informed, but it becomes scattered. In Zen practice, input is chosen deliberately. Monks limit what enters the mind just as carefully as what enters the body. Silence replaces noise. Simple visuals replace constant imagery. Essential words replace excess conversation. This discipline creates mental space, and mental space is where focus lives. When input is reduced, the mind initially feels empty and restless. This restlessness reveals how dependent attention has become on stimulation. Zen monks do not rush to fill this space. They allow the mind to recalibrate, learning once again how to remain present without constant feeding. Over time, controlled input restores the mind's natural rhythm. Thoughts slow down, awareness sharpens. Attention regains the ability to stay with one idea, one task, one moment. Zen monks understand that focus cannot thrive in a crowded mental environment. Mental discipline, in Zen, is not about forcing thoughts away. It is about guarding the gates of attention. By choosing what enters the mind, monks protect clarity, and in that protected space, focus becomes stable, quiet, and enduring. Fewer choices strengthen attention. Zen monks understand that attention weakens not only from distraction, but from excess choice. Every decision, no matter how small, pulls energy from the mind. When the day is filled with constant choosing, attention becomes tired before any meaningful work begins. Modern life presents endless options: what to wear, what to consume, what to respond to, what to think about next. Zen monks deliberately remove these unnecessary choices. By simplifying their external environment, they preserve internal clarity. The mind no longer wastes energy deciding and can instead remain present. In Zen monasteries, routines are stable and predictable. Clothing is simple. Meals follow a rhythm. Daily activities occur at the same times. This structure is not restrictive, it is protective. Each removed choice reduces mental friction and strengthens attention. When choices are reduced, the mind stops oscillating between alternatives. Attention becomes steady because it is not constantly pulled in different directions. Zen monks observe that focus thrives in environments where the mind is not asked to decide repeatedly. Over time, fewer choices create a sense of ease. The mind no longer feels pressured to optimize every moment. With fewer decisions to manage, attention deepens naturally and remains available for what truly matters. Zen monks understand that freedom does not come from endless options, but from simplicity. When the burden of choice is lifted, attention regains its strength. Focus is restored not through effort, but through removal. Focus returns when attention stops leaking. Zen monks do not believe focus is something that must be built through force, discipline, or struggle. They understand that focus is a natural state of the mind. It disappears only when attention is allowed to leak away in small, unnoticed ways throughout the day. What feels like a lack of focus is often nothing more than attention being spent carelessly. Attention leaks when it is given away without intention. A glance here, a thought there, a reaction to every sound or impulse. Each small leak seems harmless on its own, but together they drain the mind's capacity to remain present. Zen monks observe these leaks closely and close them one by one. Rather than chasing focus, monks guard attention. They treat it as something precious and limited. Where attention rests determines the quality of the mind. When attention is constantly redirected, focus cannot form. When attention is protected, focus returns quietly, without effort. Zen practice emphasizes containment. Attention is kept with the breath, with the movement, with the task at hand, not rigidly, but respectfully. Over time, the mind learns that it does not need to scatter to remain alive. It learns how to stay. As attention stops leaking, the mind becomes whole again. Thoughts slow. Awareness deepens. presence becomes stable. Focus reappears not as a forced state, but as a byproduct of care. Zen monks understand this final truth clearly. Focus was never lost. It was simply given away. When attention is reclaimed and guarded, focus returns to where it has always belonged. You were never meant to fight your mind. You were never meant to force focus into existence. Focus leaves only when attention is treated carelessly, and it returns the moment attention is handled with respect. Zen monks did not become focused by adding more to their lives. They became focused by removing what quietly broke them. Less switching, less noise, less urgency, less escape. What remains is not emptiness. What remains is clarity. When attention is no longer fragmented, the mind remembers how to stay. And when the mind can stay, focus is no longer something you chase. It becomes the place you live.